Welcome to the Word for 2021. Today we're in Judges chapter 3. 400 years span the book of Judges, and the book of Judges can actually be kind of a disappointing book to read because it tells of how Israel had fallen away from God over and over again. They followed a pattern that we read here in chapter 3, verses 7, 8, 9, and 10. They sin, they suffer, they pray, and then a deliverer is given. This is what we read in chapter 3, beginning in verse 7. The Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. They forgot the Lord their God, and they served the Baals and the Asherahs. The anger of the Lord burned against Israel, so that he sold them into the hands of the king of Aram. But when they cried out to the Lord, he raised up for them a deliverer, Othniel, Caleb's younger brother. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, so that he became Israel's judge, and he went to war. The Lord gave the king of Aram into the hands of Othniel, who overpowered him, so that the land then had peace for 40 years, until Othniel had died. Othniel, again, was Caleb's younger brother. We first learn about him in Joshua chapter 15. Now, Caleb was one of the two spies that came back with a good report out of the 12. It was Joshua and Caleb. And God kept Caleb and Joshua alive until they came into the promised land. All those of their counterparts, they died in the wilderness. It's been said of Caleb that he was a man who followed God wholeheartedly. When Caleb was 85 years of age, he went to Joshua and he said, "Give me the promised land that God had given to me. Give me the hill country, the land that God had promised me." And so Caleb, he took the hardest tract of land of all. There were giants in that land, but Caleb killed 3 giants. But then as we continue to read about Caleb, he then gave a challenge. The next city that was to be conquered in the hill country, he said, "Whoever conquers that city, I will give my daughter in marriage." We don't have any record that his daughter objected. And so, who was it that stood up and took that city? It was Othniel. Caleb then gave Othniel a field. Then we read that Caleb's daughter came and asked for springs of water, and Caleb gave her 2 springs of water. Now, what inspired Othniel to stand up and go and conquer that city? Well, I believe he was watching Caleb. Caleb was a man who trusted God, who believed God, and who followed God faithfully. It's important to remember that others are watching me and they're watching you. Just like Othniel was watching Caleb, others are watching us. Now, we can either inspire people or we can discourage them. Faith is contagious, and faith can motivate other people. In the same way, fear too can be contagious, and it can dishearten people. It can discourage them. Caleb was inspiring to his younger brother. As we've just read in this chapter, Othniel was chosen by God to be the very first judge, the very first deliverer, the first champion for the nation of Israel. Why was Othniel chosen? I believe it was because the truth that we read in 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 9. In that verse we read, "For the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to Him." In the book of Judges, again, 400 years are spanned. And there are 13 judges listed. 12 are men and 1 is a woman. But the truth, I believe, is found in every single one. That these people were fully committed to God. Therefore, God chose them. Now, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And when people are caught in sin, when they are suffering, God is looking for someone that He can use to be a deliverer for them. Someone that can draw them back to God, to stand in the gap, to inspire them. I believe that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever once more, and He is looking for someone whose heart is fully committed to Him. He chose Othniel, and I believe God is looking for you and looking for me to be a person just like that. Someone that will stand in the gap, someone that He can use, and someone that will inspire others to turn back to God. May that be said of us today, that God chose us because we were fully committed to Him. Thank you for joining the Word for 2021.